Coming off a much-needed bye week, the Ravens have removed all distractions from their locker room in order to turn their season around. They got rid of the ping-pong table. They put the PS5 and the Xbox One in the closet. They got rid of the basketball hoops. They have removed everything but what's necessary in order to save this season, which is removing Zach Orr from his duties as defensive coordinator. It rubbed me the wrong way how John Harbaugh a few weeks ago threw Todd Monken on the bus in spite of the offense not being an issue. How much better can the play calling get when you're averaging nearly 30 points per game, and yet you're going to have all the confidence in the world and the defensive coordinator that's given up as many points on defense as what you're scoring on offense? You can't expect to win a bunch of games scoring 30 points per game and giving up 30 on the other end. And Lamar Jackson coming back fully healthy is not going to be enough for the Ravens to salvage this season in terms of being able to get hot and make a run in the playoffs. The Ravens, the furthest they're going to go this year is the divisional round. They don't have a good coaching staff. And getting rid of the ping pong table, the video game consoles, and the basketball hoops is not what needed to change in Baltimore. What needs to change in Baltimore is what the Ravens are unwilling to change, which is the coaching staff. John Harbaugh, Zach Orr, they need to pack their bags and they need to go. John Harbaugh is one of the longest tenured coaches in the NFL. But the longer he's been in Baltimore, the more disappointing this team has started to become. He is solely still a head coach because of Lamar Jackson. If it wasn't for Lamar Jackson during his rookie season coming in and saving his job, he would be unemployed right now. At least not the head coach of the Ravens. And imagine if the Ravens would have moved on from John Harbaugh last year and hired Mike Macdonald. You feel really good about their chances winning the Super Bowl if Mike Macdonald is the head coach as opposed to John Harbaugh. Look how good the Seahawks have looked these past 2 years with Mike Macdonald as their head coach. Sam Darnold has played great football. The defense has been outstanding. Meanwhile, Zach Orr was unable to maintain what Mike Macdonald gifted him, which is one of the most talented defenses in the league and a scheme that was wildly successful. So how is it that the Ravens have dropped off so much and yet they still have the same core components responsible for the struggles that they've had for over the last 5-6 years? Lamar Jackson is not holding the Ravens back from winning the Super Bowl. I get really sick and tired of having to defend Lamar Jackson for why he hasn't been able to get over the hump and win a Lombardi trophy. It's the same problem that the Bills have. The Bills and the Ravens both need to move on from their current head coaches. Sean McDermott has gotten the most out of the Buffalo Bills that he possibly can, and John Harbaugh has gotten the most out of the Ravens with Lamar Jackson as he possibly can. It's time to move on. Both the Bills and the Ravens have peaked with their current regimes at head coach. And even though you're making it to the playoffs every year, you're coming really close to getting over the hump, it still isn't good enough. And the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and get the same results. What is removing video games and the ping pong table and the basketball hoops going to do to help the Ravens turn their season around? Because none of that stuff has any correlation to the bad play calling that we've seen on the defensive side of the football. It's the ping pong table, the one who's having all these blown coverages. It's the ping pong table responsible for Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers having all of these costly fumbles. The Ravens just are not a fundamentally sound football team. And that all starts with the head coach. You can blame Lamar Jackson all you want to, but when you have an elite quarterback like Lamar Jackson and the team continuously comes up short in the postseason, that's a coaching problem. That's a you problem. And the expectations for the Ravens were so high that now we're getting to a point midway through this season, we're asking ourselves, are the Ravens even going to be able to put themselves in position to get into the playoffs? Because, yeah, your schedule looks really easy and really favorable coming off a bye, but with how bad your defense has looked, there's no guarantee that you're going to beat the Bears, that you're going to beat the Dolphins, that you're going to be able to beat the Steelers, the Packers, or any of the other teams that you have coming up down the stretch. Yeah, you get a few guys back healthy, Roquan, Marlowe, Jair Alexander, but even when those guys were healthy at the start of this season, the defense was still underperforming. The Ravens' change is not removing ping pong tables and video game consoles and basketball hoops. The change that needed to be made was at head coach and at defensive coordinator. And I'm not saying that John Harbaugh needs to be fired right now, but Zach Orr definitely could use the demotion. And at the end of the season, the Ravens ownership and their general manager, EDC, they're going to have a really harsh conversation about this team and the trajectory of this team under John Harbaugh. You can be a good head coach and still peak. We saw Andy Reid get fired by the Philadelphia Eagles and go on to have a lot of success with the Kansas City Chiefs. John Harbaugh could be a great fit for the Tennessee Titans. He's a great culture builder, but he's not what the Ravens and Lamar Jackson need to get to the next step. And I still don't see all of these changes in the locker room being able to help the Ravens take back the AFC North. Unless Aaron Rodgers gets injured, the Steelers are not going to lose this division. Hell, I believe that the Bengals have a better shot at winning the AFC North than what the Ravens do, because at least their defense has shown the ability to get key stops. The Ravens have one of the most talented rosters in the NFL, one of the most talented defenses in the NFL, and yet they're underperforming. But the changes that John Harbaugh felt needed to be made was getting rid of all the recreational stuff. Stuff that was going to help guys unwind and relax. You can play video games at Lamar's house. Hey, we got PS5, Xbox One, Madden night at my house tonight. Oh, we're playing ping pong table at Marlon Humphrey's night. Cool. We're there with it. You know, all those other extracurricular stuff, those players can still do on their free time. But I guess, you know, if you're at the Ravens facilities, they want you to be locked in on the games, but yet I see Marlon Humphrey going live after the game. You know, like Lamar said last year, you know, bro, like we barely won this game, bro. You should be locked in. You should be focused. That all comes down to the head coach. When the team isn't playing fundamentally sound football, that all falls on the head coach. Eventually, the Ravens are going to realize that the change that needs to be made is not getting rid of the ping pong tables and the video game consoles and the basketball hoops. It is getting rid of Zach Orr along with John Harbaugh.